So, Nigel and Joe, thanks for joining us today. So, where in the world are you?
We're in Winchester. We're in our house in Winchester, where we've been confined for the last few weeks, I think.
Yeah.
Normally, we leave Winchester Vineyard Church. So,
Winchester Vineyard Church. Winchester is a beautiful part of the world, quintessentially English. Yeah.
So it's been voted the best place, one of the best places in England to live. I
Mm.
mean, I don't say in there that it's also probably one of the best.
What was that? That's not supposed to happen. This is not very professional, is it? Go on. God, shocking behaviour. I'm going to get in trouble for this when my wife sees this. So, yeah, Winchester. I always think it's like a little Canterbury, isn't it? Very beautiful, especially at Christmas.
Lovely cathedral, very nice place. We saw you once on the high street. You walked past us while we were busking with our choir.
That's the last time we were there. We went to the cathedral, and you were on the streets busking. It was awesome to see you.
None of that's going to happen in the next few years.
So, guys, you know the questions I've been asking people. Just being nosy, catching up with you, miss you, and also a chance to learn from each other. So the first one, sort of generally, was none of us saw this coming and had extensive preparation for this. So what did you find most helpful to ramp into this situation? What's been most useful to you?
Well, one of the things that we were just really aware of God's kindness actually for us in our church, because we haven't always had great response to people joining life groups. It's been kind of up and down with that.
Yeah.
But at the beginning of the year, we invited people to join small groups specifically to do Greg's prayer course, 24/7 prayer course. We pushed it hard. We said as a church, we're going to do this all together. Please sign up. And so lots of people did, and consequently,
we started extra groups specifically just to run the prayer course. We didn't tell them they had to be life group leaders. We just said, just host a prayer course with a video for a bit.
Brilliant.
By the time we were in it, we had loads of groups going. Probably the most.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Sorry, interrupt.
No, it's fine. So as a result, it meant that when lockdown happened, lots of people connected. So it wasn't too difficult to go through the address list, work out who wasn't connected, and be in touch with them. I mean, invite them to be part of it if they wanted. But we just felt that was really God's kindness to us, in advance. And I mean, our life group leaders have been absolutely epic in working out how to go online, or some of the groups got people in who just can't do the tech or haven't got access to it, and so they're just doing phone calls or finding ways to stay connected. And so that so the ramping up is God's kindness, really. How that was able to happen for us.
Practically, we just used. We got something as simple that we didn't actually have a WhatsApp group of life group leaders at that point. So we started that, and all our life group leaders just completely stepped up straight away. We literally sent them a letter one day saying, "You need to go online with your groups this week. This is how we'll do it." We ran a couple of Zoom calls to try and sort of catch up with them. But basically, over the next 2 or 3 weeks, they absolutely stepped up to the plate, which was amazing, really. Yeah. And I think the other thing I would add, ramping up, is just, the leaders have been amazing, the team have been amazing. We don't have a huge team, but the guys that we have been brilliant. They were very fast, very flexible. We made some quick. I remember having a meeting on one morning, which was, okay, so if we are allowed to do church next Sunday, we'll do this, this, and this, and if we aren't, we'll have to do. And then literally the next day we were like, okay, so we're not doing church on Sunday. How are we going to manage this? And one of our guys stepped up to the plate with Storehouse, really completely restructured how that has worked in time. Just our comms people. So we were really blessed with having great people who were just really happy to say, right, okay, what do we need to do? Let's get it done. So that was a blessing.
Also, I think the resources that have come centrally from the movement, Mark Crosby's team, amazing, because I'm really not technical at all. I joined Facebook because of coronavirus.
It's taken years and years to get her onto any kind of social media.
Finally.
And
now she's there. She's a bit addicted now, by the
way. Tech is not my strong suit.
Yeah, realise what you're missing.
So having the resources that they've sent out has been really, really helpful. But certainly those first few, maybe 2 weeks when things just seemed to change, not just every day, but every half a day, it was just like, we'll do this, do that, that was really full on busy.
It was. And the other thing I did was, in that first week, when I saw it was coming, I bought a new iPhone, because I was like, I've been waiting
Other
for
phones are available.
I've been waiting for an excuse to buy a new phone for a while, and I knew that my son had one, and I knew the cameras were really good, and I was like, right, we're going to need to film some stuff, and the simplest way is going to be just on a decent phone. So
Definitely.
But we've had advice. We had advice and encouragement from all around, really. I think. And I think the best piece of advice that I heard was just be yourself. Don't try and compare yourself with anybody else.
Yeah.
You know, we're a sort of, I guess we're a medium-sized church. We're not small, but we're not huge. And, you know, we've got enough going on to be able to produce some things for Sunday. But when we look at some, you know, our daughter's working in a very big church, and we've got other friends in very big churches, and we look at some of their online content, and I had to stop watching it because I was just like going, I end up feeling really bad, and I don't need to do that. And I think that was, again, some of the best advice from John and Debbie was just be yourselves, do what you can do. And I think we realized pretty quickly that it wasn't content that people were after as much as connection. And so, you know, we were sort of saying, the first week we were saying to our worship leaders, let's, I don't think we can pull this off. I'm not sure worship's going to be able to be possible. We'll just do a little talk. But then by the next week, we're like, well, actually, it's not that hard to sit in a room and record yourself playing. Okay, it doesn't sound brilliant compared to what's out there on YouTube. But actually, what people love in our church is seeing their worship leaders leading worship. You know, that connection has turned out to be really, really valuable. And that's what sort of, as we go forward now, we're just trying to dream, but okay, how do we keep doing interesting and creative ways to connect?
Awesome. Yeah, we always wanted more, you know, to nudge the numbers of people in small group up, and we had about 70% connected to a group, including those ones that drove by a small group once in a while. You know, I think it's about 92%, and you know, Bev rang through our address list anyone that wasn't, and people have just, like you say, stepped up. And you know, we've always said small groups are the heartbeat of the church, but you're like, man, I mean, I've sat in some Zoom calls with other pastors in different webinars and other things, and the ones that haven't got small groups in place are saying that they seem to be struggling the most, because you know, that's just the one place that we know everyone is connected and looked after. I mean, this whole online thing is amazing, isn't it? I mean, I heard something else the other day about you know, content is just something to consume. You can get people are, I'm sure people in my church are, they're going online going, oh, this is interesting, there are all these people much better than Jason at speaking, and they can consume that. Yeah, well, they do, but that doesn't matter, because what they want is, like you guys were saying, they want you, they want the experience of you, and then suddenly that changes everything about the, you know, the pressures, doesn't it?
Text me, not every week, but most weeks after Sunday. Write anything on the public chat, but he's a professional, competent, fantastic guy, and he just texted me and said the other day, I mean, and struggling with the work situation, and he just texted me and said, this is, sitting down on a Sunday morning is probably the only part of routine in my week that's any kind of routine around it. He's got kids at home that he's sort of trying to homeschool or whatever, and I'm really appreciating it. It's one consistent point in the week. I mean, that's
an anchor.
Lovely, thank you for doing this. And I'm like, well, I don't know, we're just doing what we do, don't we?
Awesome. It's great. We've got a countdown for our Sunday service. Some people find it annoying. It's a tune that plays and stuff. But once we start, we've had the number of people that have said, you know, every time I hear that now on a Sunday, when it comes on the live stream, I'm like, oh,
that's brilliant.
Just the countdown noise makes me think,
familiarity.
My church family, something slightly normal. I mean, the whole online thing is a big pressure. There's amazing stuff, but you know, when you got some, I mean, that's the amazing thing. All these resources coming at us, I'm overwhelmed with them. Then occasionally you get the kind of, can we not have a 27-piece band that are all, you know, synced up with technology for worship every Sunday? And you're like, no.
If we get anything, we'll be rerunning last Sundays if we're not careful.
Will anyone notice? That's a good idea.
We've got 4 different worship teams. So we said, are you all up for doing your week, just recording some of your week? And they all said yes. So we've done a month of that, and now we're sort of starting around that cycle again. I was tempted to say I could just cut and paste and mix and match, a bit like they do on Songs of Praise. If you ever,
brilliant.
A song from the end, you know, I thought, well, we could do that. If they run out of energy or capacity, we could
see if anyone notices. So then, the second question I asked was looking at with you was, you know, as we're trying to figure out what's coming next. None of us saw this coming. I keep telling people that ask me how I am and what it's like. My trustees did the other night. They said, has it settled down yet? I go, for me, not really, because I feel like I'm planning the church 4 weeks ahead with about 8 different scenarios and having to redo that, like you said, every half a day still. So what's helping you? What's it feel like for you? And what's giving you, any clarity as you look ahead?
I think one of the things throughout this whole thing for me actually has been very specifically trying not to look at other people too much. And so we have to be wise and we have to, see what the prevailing wind is and all that kind of thing. But I feel quite challenged that we need to be listening to what the Lord's saying to us for here. And so we're gathering our prophetic people next week and just saying, so is there anything specific that you feel like He said to our church in this season? And so that we can respond to that, because as you've said, online there is loads of great content, and it's very easy to go, oh, that'd be brilliant, we could use that. But actually, we believe the Lord's in this with us, and people in this, and He's got plans and purposes for our place, for Winchester. So just trying to work out in the craziness of everything, is there anything specific for us? I think that's it.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And
I get lovely little ideas every time I'm talking to everyone. Oh, we should do that. We should. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to send that out, and we won't show anyone this recording, and they'll think that was my idea. Get your prophetic people to get awesome. Brilliant.
Most of our ideas come from somebody else anyway.
Oh, good.
But the other thing that I found really helpful, maybe this is the answer to question one a little bit, is thinking about where people are at. So I think originally we were very aware of mission opportunity, and we've got online services so we can reach more people in their pajamas and we can tell them all that kind of thing. But also I think we're just becoming more and more aware of our people and the people around us, and the emotional stuff going on, the fear, the anxiety, the pressure. Yesterday on the news they were talking about the downturn in the economy, which has just completely plummeted. And so from there I found there was that webinar we were sent from Henry Cloud. John,
amazing, wasn't it?
Long, and I did think, gosh, have I got 90 minutes? But I listened to it whilst I was doing something else, and that really helped. Also I found John Mark Comer he does these little daily podcasts from Bridgetown. He's done a couple of extended things on helping people deal with grief and loss. So Pete Scazzero, Emotionally Healthy Leadership.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So just thinking about some of those things going forward, that we're not going to be released back. Everybody, you're all out now, back on Sunday, and we'll meet up, and we're just going to keep running. I think there's going to be a lot that we're going to need to walk through with people and and one other thing to add with that, it kind of ties in with what you said about the online thing. It's really easy. This morning, put my face on, come and sit in front of the camera, and everything looks great. But actually, just the opportunity to be real. And we've got a little Facebook group. It's private for our families in church. And I've posted on that a couple of times because I know that some of our mums with kids at home are really struggling. And actually I made a deliberate choice to post in my dressing gown when I hadn't done my hair and I didn't have my face on. And I just thought, because the last thing they need to see is me sitting there with my cup of tea. Because actually we're all in the thick of it. And the emotions are very up and down. And those are the things I've actually had more than anything else. And so it's mums who have maybe been up all the night with their kids and they're looking at the homeschooling, how are we going to do this today with 4 children at home, and just the reality that we're all in our dressing gowns and, it's with us. That's the take home for me.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm not sure I'd say much more. That's fantastic. Yeah, the only thing I'd add is, John and Debbie have been brilliant. They keep putting out videos and just encouragement. And I really appreciate that. I have not had the same bandwidth to listen to stuff, so I get all of that secondhand. Jo listens to all these things, and she tries to. In the first couple of weeks, she said you should listen to this Henry Cloud thing, and I still would like to, but 90 minutes I didn't have.
You've got a research assistant.
So I just pick up the best bits from Jo a lot, and because I did find that it was just quite stressful keeping everything together. But John and Debbie's things I found really helpful. John always posts brilliant little encouragements as well. The other thing that I found is that Vineyard churches have just been putting up these little videos from the spiritual directors.
Okay.
They're a little bit
on
hard.
Instagram.
They're a little bit hard to find, but they're on Instagram. I think there's one a week out. sort of taking you through a guided sort of 10-minute sort of breath prayer, or
great,
which is really brilliant. And I just spotted them on Instagram, and very, very good. So those are things that I've found that have been helpful.
Brilliant.
So we have no idea what we're doing, Jason.
Excellent, like the rest of us. So, last one was just at the end here. What's maybe been one of the hardest things personally, but what's been one of the most encouraging things, that God's been doing?
Well, I think for me, the hardest thing personally has been coming to terms with the loss that's going on in this season. And I'm not sure that I've really come to terms with it all yet, but I think I've started to realize some of what I've been feeling, some of the anxiety and the sadness and the tiredness that I've been feeling is around just what I expected to happen that wasn't going to happen. So for Joe and I personally, we were due to have a sabbatical in June, and that's very, very unlikely to happen now. I can't see how that's going to work out. And so we trust God, and we know we're not. I don't, it's the right decision. It's not the right thing to do. We're needed in our jobs, and I just wouldn't do it. There's no way it could work.
Yeah.
But I think just personally coming to terms with that, I really was looking forward to that, and I really needed that for myself and my own relationship with God. And so I trust God that He'll have another way of working that out. But I think I was talking to somebody this week just about, the loss of. There's a number of losses going on. Our son. One of our sons can't do his A-levels and is supposed to be doing the end of the year and is missing out on seeing all his friends, and he's doing really well. But when you're 17, 18, you just want to get out with your mates, don't you? And that's hard. There's loss there. And our other son obviously is curtailed at home as well, and we're trying to sort of figure out how to do homeschooling, and then our daughter is over in Northern Ireland. She's having a whale of a time, but we haven't seen her or hugged her or anything for 2 months, 2 or 3 months now. And again, we have our moments of just real pure emotion. And I think what I've been learning is it's okay to be like that. And I was reflecting on this week, and it is actually just walking through grief and loss in a healthy way, not rushing it, trusting that Jesus is with us in it, walking through the valley of the shadow of death. That I think what will come out of this is some kind of lament. I was just thinking about this and chatting to a friend about it, and I think I haven't quite worked out how to do it. It's probably for me, and then maybe for the church as well, that there's some kind of healthy way to do lament in this season, and I'm not sure what that is yet, and I'm not sure I'm quite fair enough myself to figure it out. But certainly, we've been brilliantly positive, and come on everybody, we're with you, and it's okay, and let's get, we're going to be okay. But I think at some point we do also have to pause and just hey, this is really hard.
Very good.
Even the personal, I mean, we don't know anybody who's been particularly affected. I think one person in our church's mum has died, but we don't. There's nobody really, closely connected to us where we're going, oh my gosh, we've really lost this. But I just think for everybody, there's some of that going on, and we need to figure into that a bit.
Yeah. Oh.
I don't know if you want
any good things.
Oh well, there's been amazing blessings. I mean, my spiritual director is a real blessing. She's fantastic. She kind of helps me see what God's doing in different seasons.
Brilliant.
We've already mentioned our team are amazing, and our leaders have been fantastic. And it's very nice not having to get dressed properly. It's very nice, apart from when you're recording things. It's very it's very nice not having to go out in the evenings. I quite like that. But we do miss people, but there are some real blessings, and I just I do really sense that God is with us, and we've got something to share, we've got something to say, and we the first couple of weeks I was just thinking, how long is this going to last, and when are we going to get through it, and how can I survive? And now I think I have this sense that God is with us, and we take each day as it comes, and we try and survive in it.
And I think for me, probably the challenge has been the whole work-life balance. I mean, that's always a challenge, I think, with kids. But now we're all in the same space. Yeah. We don't get to drive home from work to kind of download our brains and things. So we've got to find out better transitions. And it has made me think about my rule of life in this season. So the things that I used to do don't work in the same way. And so now I've got to work out, so what do I need in this season? So you know, we are quite, as you heard from all this, feely emotional people, you know, and so the challenges have been the feelings and the emotions, I think, you know, and the fear, you know, our daughter's in another country. What if she got sick and we couldn't be there to be with her? You know, what processing those kind of things have been a challenge. And then from a job point of view, feeling, you know, you can see someone through a screen, you can send a text, what's really going on with them. We, you know, we had people who were going through huge life issues before this even started that are nothing to do with this, and still got those issues ongoing in a really difficult time period, you know. So those things are hard. But I think that for me, the best things about it are, number one, you know, we talk, like Alan Scott used to say about scattered servants, we talk about our people, you know, we are the church scattered, and this is a great opportunity for that. But the best thing for me in the middle of this has to be Jesus, and the fact that in all my ups and downs, I'm just finding I'm having to hang on to him, I think, more than ever before. You know, I had certain things, like in the morning I'd have some time with the Lord, and at lunchtime I'd set my alarm and pray the Lord's Prayer and whatever. And now if I do get to lunchtime, you know, I'm just like, oh my gosh, you know, I just have to I've got a prayer now, like a psalm for lunchtimes, you know, things just that I really need to hang on to him. But the truth is that he is always there. That's the wonderful truth for me, and for, you know, for all our people as well. And so, you know, he has to be the best thing, and, you know, that's coming out of this, I suppose, deepening in my friendship with him, and learning more and more that it's not about me getting it right or looking at the screen or contacting the right person, you know, but it's about him and what he's up to, I suppose.
Well, guys, that was awesome. Thank you so much. Very encouraging.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.